Welcome back to Chasing 70 Degrees. I'm Travis, and I want to talk to you about some of the mods I'm actually getting ready to do, and I'm going to be taking you with me. And so we're going to go into the deeper end of the modification pool, if you will. The first couple of videos I did were kind of simplistic additions to the Jeep on the exterior. And now what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to be doing a series of light upgrades. So I've got the Oracle Oculus bi-LED headlamps. We're going to be putting those in. I've got the Oracle tail lights, the LED tail lights, and that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. And then I've got two more additions. I've got the Oracle cargo light, which affixes to the back of the door right behind the rear wiper assembly. And I'm also going to be doing the Oracle LED fog lights. And so those are going to be some of the more complicated videos coming up just in terms of wiring and logistics. And so let me go ahead and tell you how I'm going to be getting these tail lights installed. So I've got the Gorilla Pod right here, which is going to allow us to hopefully get a better angle into this little compartment that we have to get into in order to loosen up the tail lights in the rear of the Jeep. Now, I can use a 10mm socket, right? So 10mm socket will do the trick, or if you have a Torx T30 driver, right? Or there's any different kind of Torx tool that you can get. But I have one of these here. It's a T30, and this will actually work to loosen up the screw that we need to get to, which is down inside this little compartment, which you're going to see in a second. I'm going to need a flathead screwdriver, right? Flathead screwdriver is going to help us with these clips that we're going to use not only on the back of the tail light, but there's also sort of a load reducer assembly, and you'll see what that looks like when I bring you close in. And then I've got the Trisalto. I have had this for a little while. It's a Trisalto sort of plastic, I don't know what you want to call it, like a vehicle sort of trim removal kit, right? Because when you're inside and you're using, if you were to use it like a metal flathead just like that right there, a metal flathead screwdriver, if you were to slip, you could damage the plastic on the inside of your vehicle. And so when I'm removing any of the trim components inside the Jeep, I like to use the Trisalto. And again, I've got links to everything that I'm going to be doing here. I don't have the fog lights or the cargo light out yet. Those are en route, should be here on Saturday. And I have links down below to everything that I'm going to be using here, the Trisalto kit included, with the exception of sort of the flathead and the Phillips head screwdriver. Those are kind of basic items that you can pretty much pick up anywhere. But everything else is going to be, there'll be a link to where I got it down in the bottom of the description of the video. All right, so let's go ahead now and let's take a look inside the rear of the Jeep as to where it is we're going to be removing this panel and then removing the screw so that we can get the tail light, the original halogen lights, to go ahead and disconnect from the Jeep. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right now. All right, so here we are in the rear of the Jeep, and you can see this little panel that I'm talking about. Here's the 12-volt DC power outlet, commonly referred to as a cigarette lighter. And so we're on the driver's side, and that's actually where we're going to begin our work. And so here's the little panel that I was talking about. And this is where you're going to find you're immediately going to see the value of this little Trisalto tool. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put it underneath here, and you put a little force on it to pop that panel up. And there it is. And when we go to put it back on, you'll see we'll put that side in first, the side closest to the side of the vehicle, and then we'll bring it down. But I'm hoping that you can now see right here, and this is a little screw. It's like a plastic screw in here, and as I mentioned before, you could use a 10mm socket to get this out. And it's interesting, I've only been in here one other time, but there's definitely some wear on this. And so if the Torx were to strip for whatever reason the Torx bit, you would then, again, I like how they give you the option of a 10mm socket to put that in there. We're just going to go ahead and use the Torx screw that I had showed you in the video, and let's go ahead and get this guy out of here. And it's going to take a few turns, but then it loosens up pretty quickly. right? And you can see there it gets pretty loose. And so at this point, we're pretty close to being able to just use our hands. And again, there's no bolt or anything on the back side. And here is that little screw that fits right down into here. And this is what's holding your tail light in. All right, so now that we've got this out, let's go ahead and transition to the outside of the vehicle, where we're going to go ahead and take a look at removing the legacy tail light. All right, so here we are on the outside of the Jeep, and this is actually, you can see it's pretty loose right now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this. And there's actually sort of a little slider thing that you can slide this electrical hookup. And so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull the red pin here, and hopefully you can hear that and see that, right? It's like it makes a click. Right, now once that's pulled, you're going to push down on this black assembly here. And I'm going to show you a close-up of what this looks like using the light from the passenger side. But if you push down on that black assembly, that kind of makes it nice and easy to then get this out. And again, it's going to take a little bit of elbow grease here. Let me see if I can get a better angle. And we'll get that out of there. There we go. And you can see now that we've got the receptacle end here that we're going to be plugging the LED lights into. And here is, and actually I'll use this light right here. You can see that when you pop this piece out, right, you can see it'll pop in to sort of secure it. You pop the red thing back toward you, and it's this little black thing right here that you're going to push down on, and that kind of releases this unit here from connecting in. All right, well, let's go ahead now, and we're going to take this inside the garage. We're going to remove the 3 Phillips head screwdrivers on the back of this unit because we need the mount, and there's a clip underneath here that we also need, which we'll see. It's this clip right here, actually, that comes through. Hopefully you can see that. We'll get a better look in the garage, so let's take this inside right now. All right, and so this is probably going to be sort of the easiest thing we do. You can see here we've got 3 Phillips head screws that we're going to go ahead and remove so that we can keep this mounting bracket. And so here's where I'm just going to use a Phillips head screwdriver. And again, we'll get this in there and get these guys turning. And there's one. There's the second one, and let's get this third one out of here. All right, so now that we've got all 3 screws out, you'll notice that this kind of mounting component actually comes out now. And so we're going to mount this to the new lights I've got over here on the side. I'm going to slide that over in a second, but before we do that, this is where we're going to bring out the flathead screwdriver. And what we're going to do is this little clip right here. And the new light actually has some clips, but those I believe are going to be for hooking this into the inside fender, the new light to the inside fender. So we want to reuse this clip here because it's going to get attached as well. And so let's go ahead and just kind of pop this clip off if we can. Get underneath here, and these things, I can't stand these things. And actually, what I may want to do is actually get a smaller screwdriver. So let's grab a smaller flathead screwdriver. That one might be just a little bit too big. And let's see what we've got here. All right, so this looks like it might be a little better. There we go, yeah, a little bit smaller. It's going to get me underneath where I need to be. And let's pop this side off here. And I knew I'm not a big fan of these clips, and I figured that the clips would be the hardest part to get off here. Let's see what we've got going on. And boy, oh boy, are these problematic. And I don't want to break the clip, and it should just pop right off there. And these are kind of some of the things you may run into if you decide to do an installation like this. Yeah, that clip should just pop right off, and it is not cooperating at all. So let's see what we've got going on here. All right, there we go. Maybe I wasn't pulling it hard enough. You can see it's almost got these razor blade type teeth. I'll pull it over here. There's like these razor blade teeth on the inside. All right, well, let's get the new light out, and we'll get the assembly attached to the back of the new light. All right, so we've got the new Oracle LED tail light right here, at least the one for the driver's side. And what I like is they've got these little guides on the back, and so I kind of pulled down the cabling, right? I'm going to try to keep the cabling channeled through here. You can see it's kind of a natural channel that it has there, so I want to keep it naturally channeled through there. And I like these little, they stick up a little bit here. They're like little circles that will allow me to go ahead and, you know, again, it kind of provides a guide so that when I drop on the mounting harness for the tail light, it kind of slips right into place. But I've got a little bit of movement, right? So in case I needed to adjust a little for the screws, there is that as well, and it's ready to go. And so I'm going to talk about this guy right here, right? So this is sort of the load protector, so to speak. And we're going to mount that onto these gold plates here, and you can see how that would mount on here. And then this is going to get clipped into the inside of the Jeep, and that's what these additional clips are for here. And these are actually, you know, nice gold clips. This one here is pretty ratty. And so before we drop this in here, right, remember I said we want that clip, and you can see the clip is going to get installed right here. And so I'm going to drop this clip down here, and hopefully we don't have the same issues that we had previously. And let me go ahead and put some more pressure on this guy. There we go. To get that dropped on there. Again, you know, trying to be a little careful. I don't want to break anything. And so we've got that on there. Now let's see if the harness will go ahead and sit on here, or I should say the mounting bracket is going to go ahead and sit on there. It does, and you can't really see it. Let me see if I can bring it up to the camera here. It's right there. That's that clip. And I'm not sure of the purpose of that clip. Oops, sorry, but they definitely wanted the clip back in there. And so that's where that clip would sit underneath that harness. And so now we're going to go ahead and drop in, make sure I stay in frame here. We're going to drop back in those 3 Phillips head screwdrivers, and Phillips head screws, using the Phillips head screwdriver. So let's go ahead and make that happen. I want to make sure we're careful not to strip these. It's kind of why I like doing it by hand. And here we go. Here's the next one. All right, and that's in there good. And then we've got the final screw up here at the top. All right, oops, sorry about that. All right, and let's get this one in here good. So we've got the clip reapplied. We've got the mounting bracket reattached here to the new Oracle light. Again, I'm going to give these just one more kind of a quarter of a twist here to make sure that everything's in good. It feels good. I, again, don't want to strip the screws in case for whatever reason you went to take these out again at some point. All right, so now that we've got this guy all set up here, we'll go ahead and we will screw on the sort of the load protector here, because I want to make sure that we get this attached properly. All right, and so to do that, we would go ahead and bring up one of these, and you can see, right, it helps you make sure that you don't mount it on the back side like this, because it just doesn't line up there, but it does line up as soon as I bring it around here. Now, a quick note, you can notice how tiny the screw and the nuts are here. There were 4 screws, 4 nuts, and when I emptied the bag out, I didn't even see them fall out of the bag, but that is what's going to be used to attach the load protector. And so we put the screws through like that. So there's one screw, and then here's another screw. And again, these are tiny little screws. So definitely want to be careful with these when you're handling them. And I'm going to try to get this so that I can at least get the screw on the back started here. And there you go. So let's get this one guy on here. There we go. All right, and you can kind of twist them on there just a little bit. And then let's get this other one on the back here. And we'll get this guy set up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to tighten these. I'm probably going to have to grab a pair of pliers, it looks like, to hold these bolts down while I go ahead and tighten the screws down so that this sits tightly there. So let me grab a pair of pliers here real quick. And it's I don't have a pair of needle nose pliers handy, but I'm just going to go ahead and grab these vice grips, and we'll see how that plays out. So if I was to hold that like that, oops, let's get a little straighter there. All right, so I'm going to hold that like that, which should allow me to then tighten this down, and hopefully this this is going to work there. Yeah, it looks like it is spinning and grabbing. Let's see what we got. And no, it is not. So let me try a little smaller, I'm sorry, bring that back into frame for it. I'm going to try a smaller Phillips head screwdriver here to see if I can get that to crank. And here I may need to pull this. And they went on nice there, but they are certainly not cooperating here. Let me see if it's that I can't get enough leverage against these screws. And I'm sorry if this comes out of frame, but I'm holding the tools as well as the... And I think we might have success on this one here. Let's take a look. And it looks like it might be coming forward a little bit there, so let's go ahead and bite back down on that. And again, this is something we also don't want to strip, although it looks like that might be, and I really want to avoid that. So let's see here. Let's pause for a second, and I'm going to see if I can get a better grip on this without trying to keep it in view of the camera. So you can see, for the most part, you can see that we've got the little screw and the little bolt. And I'm going to try to get these tightened down. So just hold on one second here. All right, so I definitely got it on there. What I had to do, though, is I actually had to, I'd still use just a Phillips head screwdriver. You can see I grabbed a different Phillips head screwdriver. This one looked a little more sharp at the tip to get in there on sort of these smaller screws, and I still used the same vice grip wrench. But what I did was I actually had to pull it in kind of toward my body and hold on to it to kind of balance it. And then I was able to get these screwed on there. But that was definitely probably the harder part of what we're doing here. And so now these two clips that it comes with right here, these clips are actually going to be used to affix this to the inside of the fender on the Jeep. And so now it's, I guess it's time for the connection to the Jeep, and let's get it hooked up, and we'll get this guy here connected to the body on the inside fender, and hopefully we can get that done without any issue. And then we'll turn the car on and we'll see what that brake light looks like. All right, let's head out to the Jeep. All right, so here we are back out at the Jeep, and let's go ahead and get our Oracle LED tail lights or tail light here on the driver's side finished up. You can see we've got sort of this load protector here, and we're going to clip that. Looks like there's a couple good candidates for locations, and I'm just going to size this up real quick. And I think the best location and where it's going to work is actually kind of right behind here. Right on this is a pretty nice piece of metal right here on the inside that you'll see. And so I think what I'm going to try to do is literally just mount that guy just like that. I've left the plastic on the tail light because again, I'm still kind of moving it around and bumping into it and stuff like that. So let's drop in these clips to either side here, and let's see if we can get the load protector. And the load protector, this has probably been the sort of the most difficult component to work with here in terms of, you know, the tail light installation. The mounting bracket was pretty simple and straightforward, but this is kind of being problematic. And let's see if we can't, there we go. And those, I'll tell you what, there's some teeth on these little clips that are just insane. So there we go. All right, so I've got the top clip in, and let me get the bottom clip on here. Holy cow. I don't think that this is going to come loose at any point, given the amount of pressure it's taking to get this on here. And this is kind of crazy. The top one is on there. And let's go ahead, see if we can't finish up, open the bottom one up a little bit and get it to clamp on here. And let me tell you, I'm really hoping that it is going to work in this location, because if not, I may not be able to get this thing off of there. I slid it up just a little bit. And boy, these are not a fan of these clips, let me tell you right now. And let me try to open this clip up a little bit here. And actually, well, we've got the one clip there. Let me make sure that this is going to fall in there and we're not going to run into, yeah, so it sits in there rather nice. And I really like that smoke, the black on black look. You know, you'll notice I'll do a side-by-side comparison at the end of the original halogen lights and then these blacked out LED lights, which do look really, really nice. Again, I'm going to leave the plastic on here until I'm finished. And what I'm trying to finish is I'm trying to get this last clip on there, which is causing all kinds of havoc, and these things are definitely a pain. And it just does not want to go on there for whatever reason. And I can tell you right now, it's going to require both of these, or else I can see this thing falling off, or, you know, bouncing around in here, and you definitely don't want that. And so again, I'm trying to figure out a good way to get this clip on there, and it just does not want to go. There we go. All right, so there we go. We've got the second clip in there, and the first clip is in there, and boy, oh boy, that was not easy to get those in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to connect in the new light to the Jeep chassis, the Jeep harness here, and not a lot of distance here, and not a lot of slack, I should say. And so I'm just taking a look at this, and it looks like we're going to go in that way. Let's see here. Here, we've got that chassis. All right, there we go. We've got the connection behind there. And so now this new connection is going to slip in here, and I want to make sure I'm going in correct. I'm looking for the guides, and I don't see the red pins anymore. And so let's see what we've got here. See if we can get this, and actually it's going to go, I'm kind of upside down here. I'm sorry if I'm obstructing the view. So we're going to slide it back in just like that. All right, so it's connected in there. We've got these clips on the side over here holding the sort of the load protector in. And now we're just going to line the light back up and get it on there. And so now you can see, oops, sorry about that. And so now you can see that the light is on here. And again, I really like this black on black look. I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to transition back to putting the screw in that we had originally removed from the inside of the Jeep underneath that little compartment that's on the inside. So let's take a look at that. All right, so here we are back inside the Jeep. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to drop this screw back in there. And you're probably going to want to hold the light, right? Because as you push in, and I just noticed, I heard it kind of, you know, moving. So as I'm pushing in with the screw to try to get the screw connected in, the light is pushing out. And so we don't want that. We don't want that light to kind of like fall down on the side and be held in by just the wires. And so I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up the best I can there by hand. And then again, we're going to bring back in the Torx T30 wrench here to finish things up. And as I'm doing this, just to comment real briefly, what you could do, again, is if you had a 10 millimeter ratchet or socket and a ratchet, you could connect this in as well. So let's go ahead and get this guy tightened down. And these should look pretty badass. All right, well, that's connected in there. I'm checking the outside right now, and it is definitely, it's definitely attached. It's definitely in there. And so let's go ahead and we'll replace our cover, right, which was just this plastic piece we removed earlier. And then you just give it a little force, a little push there with some force, and it snaps right in. All right, well, we've got the new light installed. I'm going to remove the plastic, and then let's go ahead and see what the tail light looks like installed on the Jeep with the plastic removed. All right, and so here's the reveal. Let's go ahead and get the plastic off and see what that looks like. And boy, oh boy, do I like the way that that looks. And again, I'll do sort of a walk around comparison of the original halogen lights as well as these new smoke black Oracle LED tail lights. I mean, really, really happy with this. And so let's go ahead. I'm going to finish up the other side, and then we'll see what the Jeep looks like from behind, square on. And again, then I'll give you that comparison walk around. All right, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of show you what the lights look like outside of the Jeep. So here's the stock halogen tail light, right? It's got sort of that red light on the side, and then there's your white reverse light. And so that's what the stock halogen light looks like. And then here is the Oracle LED. And again, I really, you know, for a black on black vehicle, I really appreciate not only the design, but just kind of the look of this tail light. And you can see right here, we've got sort of the side lights that are going to be lighting up on the side, just like you would have over here. Whoops, sorry, wrong way. Looking through the camera, that you would have here, but they're not going to, it's not, you know, it'll be red, but the glass, or the plastic, I should say, that is on the light is actually black. And so these are smoked out black all the way around. And this is the passenger side. Again, I just completed the driver's side. Not going to torment you with watching me try to get those clips on. So let's go ahead, let's get this one installed, and then we'll take a look at what these new Oracle LED taillights look like when they're fired up and installed on the Jeep. All right, and I had mentioned that I was just going to go ahead and install the passenger side. I've got the assembly put together here. I went ahead, and this again, I would say that it's going to be these clips and affixing this, right, getting this pinned to the inside of the Jeep body area inside here. That's by and far the hardest part, but I wanted to show you something that I didn't see on the other side. It was a little dark in there as I was holding the light. You can see you got these ridges here. There's a ridge here, and let me see if I can hold it. There we go. You can see the ridges, right? And so that is what lines up here at the top. I was looking for, you know, sort of like a red, you know, that red thing that we had clicked out earlier, but that's attached to the stock halogen light. So that's not there, and it took me a second to get that, to see it, to line up. And so I just wanted to show you, that's how you would line it up, right? You've got these, you know, you can see there's a little ridge here and a little ridge right over here. You got these two ridges that'll seat this in there. And something I noticed, boy, on the passenger side, there is way more slack here on the light cabling assembly, right? I mean, it's hanging out of the rear here by a good probably 3 to 4 inches. And so we're going to go ahead and make that connection right there. And you should hear that snap in, right? So that seems to be connected in there well. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the bolts, or I shouldn't say the bolts, but I'm going to go ahead and do the affixing of this load protector assembly here to the inside, and I'm not going to record that because that was a train wreck before because it is difficult to get that thing, at least it was for me, to get these on there so that it was holding it in place. Because again, you know, if you're out four-wheeling or you're, you know, hitting speed bumps or whatever, you don't want this thing flying off because then it's just going to be banging around inside the car. All right, let's finish this up. All right, so here we are with the Oracle LED tail lights. I'm going to do a quick walk around with the lights installed, right? So here they are, the lights are installed, but they're off right now. I've got a driver in the driver's seat who's going to turn them on for us so we can see what they look like. All right, so here's what the running lights look like right now. What I thought was interesting was only the top of the outside lights up. The bottom area does not light up, and the picture on the box indicates the same thing. But let's go ahead and let's do a walk around here. And again, this is your daytime running lights with the LED lights. Let's come over here. Right, and again, same thing, only the top outside light on the light lights up. The bottom light, it looks like there should be a light there, but it's not lighting up, right? It doesn't light up, and again, the box kind of shows the same thing. And so that's what it looks like with your daytime running lights on. All right, and so here's the brake lights. So that's a look at what the brake lights look like. And let's take a look over here and see if that bottom one lights up. No. Yeah, so the box, again, the box shows that the bottom one does not light up, and it looks like that's what we're seeing. And so here's what it looks like with just the brake lights on it. So that's what your brake lights are going to look like with these Oracle LED lights. And the last one we're going to take a look at, which is the one where we could have an accident, would be the reverse lights. And so there's the reverse lights, and thankfully my son, who's in the driver's seat, he's 28, so he knows what he's doing, is not going to back up over me here, right? And so that's what it looks like with the reverse lights. And again, I'm sure these would be much brighter if it was dark outside, but even in daylight, in broad daylight, you can definitely see these lights. All right, so let's take one last look at it here. We've got pretty much everything lit up. The daytime running light, sort of squarish shape. We've got the reverse lights, the white light in the center, and then we've got the red brake lights all lit up. All right, well, that is going to be a wrap for the installation of the Oracle LED smoked out black tail lights. And we're going to take one more look at what they look like here, completely all blacked out. And there they are. All right, pretty sweet and a definite upgrade when compared to the stock light. And so here are the original halogen factory stock lights, tail lights for the rear of the vehicle, and you can see that they come out a little bit on the side here. And so these are going to be the lights that we are replacing, and we'll come back over and take one more look here. And we can see it comes out in the side. And I've already been into this little compartment because I replaced the gas door there with the DV8 billet. All right, so we just finished up installing and demoing the Oracle LED lights. So I want to make sure that I'm clear that I bought these lights on my own. This is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. And again, I'm absolutely thrilled with the way that they look, and hopefully you'll feel the same way too. So leave me some comments down in the bottom. I also wanted to share with you a couple of best practices or lessons learned, let's say, from the installation. So the first lesson learned is you're definitely going to want to have some of those plastic black sort of mechanic, they look like medical gloves, but they're black, and I just ordered some on Amazon. I'm going to put those in the link below as well because I had so much grease on my hands by the time I got done. It was absolutely a train wreck. The last thing I wanted to point out was that we didn't do the turn signals, right? So rest assured, these do light up, and it's this one right here, and that's what it would look like with the turn signals. And I think what I'll do is maybe later tonight when it's pitch black, I'll go ahead and do a run through of the brake lights, the backup lights, the running lights, and the blinkers as well. And so again, I really appreciate you watching. I hope that you've learned some things here. Again, I went and tried to go into as much detail as I possibly could. And that's it. So let's wrap this up.